Hello YouTube, shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another awesome video. It's Sunday night. You know what that means. Time for some pay-per-view wrestling. So, what do we have on tonight's docket? We have WWE Night of Champions, coming to you live from Houston, Texas, my hometown. So anyway, we got some big titles on the line, like Night of Champions says. Tonight, all the titles were defended and were on the line. Who walked out champion? Who retained? Do we have new champions? Let's find out. First, we have the pre-show. Pre-show pits Stardust and the Ascension, or as they like to call themselves, the Astro Alliance, versus Neville and the Lucha Dragons, who I like to call the High Fly Society. This was a very solid, good matchup. I can't believe I said that back to back. This was a solid matchup, very good. All the guys in this match looked great, and it told a fantastic story. I would have preferred a couple more minutes to it, but it was the pre-show. What could you expect? But anyway, surprisingly, Stardust and the Ascension picked this win, which is okay with me. I like this feud. I like where it's going, and it keeps these guys busy when they're not chasing after titles and such. So hopefully we'll see more of this. So I want to see some more of this feud go on. So anyway, moving on to the pay-per-view proper. First matchup, and our first title defense for the night is for the not the United States title, the Intercontinental title, where the champion Ryback would defend against Kevin Owens. Now, this was an okay matchup, and it's not because of anything. Alright, it could have been better, but unfortunately, like I've said before, you're only as good as the person you're in the ring with. And Kevin Owens, one of the best wrestlers in the entire company right now, was in the ring with Ryback, who is one of the most average to below average wrestlers in the entire company. He is a power wrestler, and that's all he can do. He really couldn't do much with the guy. I mean, it's not like he was in the ring with someone like Cesaro or Neville or John Cena, where he can actually wrestle a great match. I'm not going to say Ryback is terrible. I'm just going to say he's limited. That's all I'm going to say. Kevin Owens wins. He's the new Intercontinental Champion. He won by roll-up because there was no way in God's green earth that he was going to get Ryback up for a pop-up powerbomb. Not unless he wants to throw out his fucking back. Yeah. And I don't trust Ryback with making that kind of vertical leap. But there's that. Next up. Hold on. This is what I was eating during the match. This was more interesting than the next match. Dry Crispits. Our next match was Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev. This was a pretty good match, but unfortunately I didn't give a shit. And the fans didn't give a shit neither. And the people I was in the chat with didn't give a shit neither. But yeah, this was like the last match. Okay, but unfortunately no one had a vested interest in it. So I just ate dry cereal. The finish proved to me why no one was interested in this match, because it kept this entire fucked up storyline going. Lana somehow ends up in the ring. The ref throws her out. She starts taking off her shoes for some reason. She throws at the ref. The ref ducks. It hits Rusev in the face. Rusev eats a zigzag from Ziggler. 1, 2, 3. You know, me and several of my friends on the CBR forums once thought that a match between Brock Lesnar and Rusev was going to be awesome. How the mighty have fallen. Rusev beaten by a fucking shoe. Fuck this angle. Next up, some awesome to wash that crap out of our mouths. The New Day, with Xavier Woods sporting a new hairdo. And for those of you who have ever watched the cinematic masterpiece that is Hook, you would already be chanting this name. Rufio. 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 Yeah. You'll get it. Watch Hook, you'll get it. So, it's New Day defending their tag titles against the Dudley Boyz. Now, normally some people would say that I would not like this match because it's another old tag team coming back to take on a new generation. But unlike the New Age Outlaws, who barely could wrestle a match nowadays, the Dudley Boyz, thanks to their time in TNA, have not only gotten better with age, but they've slimmed down. Bubba is actually slimmer than he was. He is slimmer now than he was 10 years ago when he was in the WWE last. And Devon is still Devon. Very solid. This is a very good matchup. It has some good psychology. Xavier Woods outside the ring with a trombone. Awesome. Kofi ate a 3D, but Xavier Woods came in, interrupted, and they pretty much made the match FUBAR. I'm okay with this. Sometimes a FUBAR match is okay because you have to have, because with this kind of setup, okay, here's my thinking. For this to be interesting, you couldn't have the Dudleys win, because if they did, then that would make the champs look really weak, losing to a returning tag team. Now, the New Day couldn't win over the Dudley Boyz because it would make the Dudley Boyz look older and weaker. This way, it preserves the integrity of both teams, and it will set up for a potential tables match in the near future. And speaking of tables, the New Day decided to forego their Save the Tables model that they've been using for the last couple of weeks, and decided to pull out some tables on the Dudley Boyz. Not a good idea. The Dudleys fought back and put Mr. Xavier Woods through a table. That's right, Rufio dies again. Rufio. Next up, Charlotte versus Nikki Bella for the Divas title. If you saw my video on Monday, you would know how much I hated that match, and I still don't like it. I can understand why a lot of people do like the way that match ended. I personally did not. But anyway, I would have predicted that this would have been a good match, but alright, a minute or so into the match, Charlotte goes over the ropes, and she has this weird look on her face, and she's slightly limping, and that shows to me that she probably legitimately hurt herself, like jacked up her knee. I hope not. I hope this was just a part of a story angle, and and for the remainder of the match, Nikki just targeted her leg and just kept going at it. I want to say that this was part of the match, but at some points, Charlotte looked legitimately hurt, and she looked like she was in agony. And moreover, it looked like she was legitimately pissed because she kept slapping and clawing at Nikki whenever she did anything to her leg. So essentially, she was wrestling one-legged. The end comes when Charlotte locks in the figure eight and makes her tap out. Now, this is the school of thought is this: if the injury was legit, then I had to give props to Charlotte for winning with such a deadly injury. But unfortunately, it kind of hampered the match because we really couldn't showcase all that Charlotte could do. There's a lot of people who are saying that Charlotte only gets by on her status as a Flair. The fact that her father is Ric Flair, of all people. I don't believe that myself. I know she can wrestle a good match. Unfortunately, this wasn't her better ones because of this leg injury. If it's legit, then it hampered the match somewhat. It's not her fault. And I'm not even... This is probably... Nikki Bella looked pretty strong in this one. This was probably one of her better matches that she's wrestled. It's just... For me, it could have been better. And that's not the fault of either lady. It's the fault... It was Charlotte's leg. Injuries happen in professional wrestling, and it kind of hampered her. You can see even when she was celebrating with her father and she was trying to do the Flair strut, she was hobbling around on one leg. Either she was selling the hell out of that shit or she was legitimately injured. I hope that she's not legitimately injured because it's far too soon for her to go on the injured list. But okay match, but not really their fault. Next up, the Wyatt family, made up of Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and the Black Sheep, Braun Strowman, I can't really pronounce his name, against the team of Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns and their mystery partner. Who is their mystery partner? I was picking Shinsuke Nakamura. Several people were saying Joe. Few people were wanting to see Finn Balor. full demon makeup, but instead it was the Ayatollah of rock and roller, Chris Jericho. This was a good tag team match. Nice back and forth between the guys. The end comes with some little bit of a tension. With some tension, of course. Roman Reigns hits a spear, but he kind of jacks his shoulder up. And Chris Jericho tags himself in, and he fights with Braun Strowman for a while. But this kind of backfires on him, as Braun is just too much man for him, and chokes him out with whatever that move that he calls is. I don't know what it's called. Somebody leave it below in the comments. And they pick up the win. Dean and Roman are not too happy with the fact that Jericho cost them the win, and it looked like they were going to beat him up, but then they said, hey, you know what? Shit happens. It's okay. And Jericho just brushes past them roughly and does that little asshole walk. So heel Jericho is back. He is such an asshole, you know. That's asshole Jericho. But anyway, after this, we move on to the double main event. It is WWE and WWE World Heavyweight Champion and United States Champion Seth Rollins is pulling double duty tonight. That's right. 2 title matches, 2 back-to-back. First matchup, Seth versus John Cena. This was a fantastic matchup because Seth Rollins looked like a million freaking bucks. He was pulling off moves and just looking phenomenal. Cena, of course, looked phenomenal, and this coming from someone who does not like John Cena. Cena wins this, which was predictable. As someone I was in a live a Google chat with several other dudes, including my friend Dante Nickings and several other guys from the Video Game Console Junkies. And one of them said that because Nikki Bella lost the title, John Cena was going to win, and his prediction came true. John Cena won. Seth tried to leave the ring, but got AA'd on the ring outside the ring for his measure. And then we transition to our next match: Sting versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title. This was only Sting's 3rd match in the WWE, 2nd match on pay-per-view, and this is probably his best match to date in the WWE. He looked fantastic out there, and Seth still was pulling it out of his ass. It was amazing to watch him work. Now, towards the end of the match, it could be clearly seen that something was wrong with Sting. People say he was concussed or something, but he goes into the ropes and he just collapses on the mat. And they bring in the doctor, and it looks like Sting, there was something wrong with him. He may have been concussed, a la The Undertaker, or he may have been a short of breath. I don't know. Maybe this was the hardest he's pushed since he came back to the WWE. This is the hardest match he's been working. So, and against someone much younger and much more mobile than him. So, he was pretty messed up. I mean, he wrestled for a little while longer, and you could even see how messed up he was when he tried to go when he locked in the Scorpion Deathlock. But he didn't sink into it. He didn't sit down and lock it in properly. So you knew that something was wrong with Sting. Like he wasn't at 100%. Something in the course of the match had happened. I don't know what it was, but hopefully it's not something too serious, because last time we saw something like this happen from a veteran. Undertaker had collapsed backstage after losing his streak was broken by Brock Lesnar, and he had to be taken to the hospital. So I hope this is not something serious. So, but anyway, he goes for the Scorpion a second time, and Seth goes for the roll up for the schoolboy. Not the schoolboy, the small package. Locks it in. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins retains the World Championship, which I'm okay with. Then Sheamus comes out and gives and he scraps with Seth Rollins for a little bit. Seth eats a bro kick, and then just when it looks like he was about to cash in, much to Houston's surprise, Kane comes back. Yes, not corporate Kane, Monster Kane, and he has come back with a vengeance, because as you remember, before the last pay-per-view, Seth Rollins pretty much threw Kane to the wolves. Kane did not appreciate that, and so he chokeslams Seth Rollins. Sheamus, being the dumbass that he is, thinks that he's on his side. So he tells him, "Tombstone again, fella." He's a chokeslam. Then Kane gives Seth one last tombstone, and that is how we end Night of Champions. My thoughts? I'd say this was an average pay-per-view. Nothing totally bad, but nothing really significantly great. I mean, the best match of the night was both of Seth Rollins' matches. Well, particularly this John Cena match, which was better than the Sting match, but I blame that mostly on Sting being concussed or just being winded or what have you. But Seth Rollins, John Cena, best match of the night. No really worst match of the night. They were all solid. Some of them were a little bit boring, to be the least. That's why it's only an average pay-per-view. Nothing overtly great, but nothing so terrible. But yeah, those are my thoughts. You like it? So, that's my video review for Night of Champions. If you like what you see, link, comment, subscribe below. Got any questions, comments, or just want to talk about tonight? Leave it below. I will get back to you. Want to support the channel? Clicking that like button helps, as does clicking one of these mini advertisements spread out around this video. Or if you want to be like someone I know personally, who I would continue to thank for her generosity, it's up there. You know what to do. So, until next time, it's been shintigercurl, that dude in straw hat, saying good night, and I hope it's nothing too serious, Sting.